Welcome to the Indie Corner. We're talking about all things. Nope, we don't do that. Welcome to Welcome to the Indie Corner After Dark. We're not only talking about all things independent comics, but everything comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at it again with an episode of the Indie Corner After Dark, episode number 32. And we're going back to again lovely, news segment, not just straight up review like our last episode where me and Seamus talked Captain America 4 and Daredevil Born Again, which again, if you haven't checked that out, please check that out. It was a good episode. And we're going to be doing a typical news segment of news portion of the Indie Corner After Dark. A bunch of topics, a lot of stuff came out. So talking about some comics, some movie stuff, and some beef within some beef within Marvel Comics. So it's gonna be a good time. So Rebecca, Seamus, thanks again, obviously, for joining me as always. Appreciated. And before we start, people, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you found us, just subscribe. That'd be nice. We're at 300 now, so I mean we peaked. So it's just
I like begging people to subscribe before we've done anything. We haven't said anything.
Yeah.
We haven't shown them what we're doing. It's literally like, hey, you watched the intro that sounds like a National Geographic video they show in class. Subscribe. That music sounded silly. Also, I fucked up the intro. Subscribe.
Listen, man. Sometimes we mess up, Seamus, and then we bounce back. That's how life works. Know what I mean? Subscribe, please. That'd be dope. If you subscribe, because then why would you be here if you haven't subscribed? Duh. I think the thing is when we're big enough, we're gonna have sponsors in the future. So then again, it's gonna be us begging for subscriptions and then a random ass sponsor that no one's gonna care about.
Oh my god, yeah. We get to be hey, this is our comic show, by the way. So please subscribe. We need money. And also, here's an ad break that's a minute long talking about which Dairy Queen Blizzard is the best.
One day we won't have to remind Mikey to spread the link, which he didn't do for this one.
No, I did. I did. Oh, no, I did. No. We're not doing that right now. No, I did. You just didn't notice. All right. Nah, man. But yeah, people, we're just gonna get right into it. So, all right. So first topic. So, Rebecca, Seamus, were you guys aware that there's y'all fans of Legend of Zelda? Are y'all Legend of Zelda fans up in here?
We don't have our resident fan, but I kind of like it. I played the Zelda game recently.
I own an ocarina.
I was gonna say prove it, but then you're too busy eating your Blizzard. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I can get up. If you get, here. Wait. I'll go get it. I'll be back.
Put some pants on first before you show up the camera.
I already got pants on, man.
It's Legend of Zelda, obviously popular Nintendo game. I'm not really a player of it. I do like some of the recent games, especially like Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. Looks beautiful. But they're making a Legend of Zelda movie. Ocarina.
Boy.
Yo, give us a.
Is it gonna sound like shit? Wait, I haven't played it in 4 years.
If anyone's in chat, tell us if that was anything.
That was Attack on Titan.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. It's so dusty.
But yeah, they're
my sounds so crazy.
Oh my god, it's so funny. For people that haven't noticed or haven't looked on the interwebs at all, but yeah, they're making a Legend of Zelda movie, and today was Nintendo Direct, correct? Wasn't Nintendo Direct today?
Yeah.
Where they announced things that the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever,
Tamagotchi Life 2, Mikey. Come on.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
They announced Tamagotchi Life 2.
Okay, never mind.
They added gay people in it now. You can be gay in it.
That's what's up. But yeah, they announced the official release date for the Legend of Zelda movie. And I'm looking at an article from Variety, and they pretty much announced that it will be coming March 2027. March 2027 is the release date. And for people that don't know, this is going to be produced by Sony. and it is going to be produced. Avi Arad is a producer as well as the creator of the Legend of Zelda video game, along with Nintendo. And no casting announcements at all. It's just the movie is coming out and it is in development, and that's pretty much it. So, what are your thoughts on this announcement, guys? Were you looking forward to this movie at all, or no?
I mean, I'm gonna go see it. I probably won't be in theaters day one, but unlike you, I am able to think that just because Avi Arad is attached doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be a bad movie. He produced the good Sony movies too, so I don't want to have this conversation for like a fifth time.
So naive. And no, we're not gonna go there. But just
Rebecca defending Zionists. What else?
Honestly,
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying you can't say he's only produced bad movies and then say I love Spider-Verse.
No. I've said most of the stuff he's had attached to him for the past almost decade. No, more than a decade.
Clock is right twice a day. Okay. I like Wes Ball. I like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah, right. Forgot Wes Ball's directing. Yeah.
I like him. I got no faith in this movie being any semblance of good or faithful or anything. The best I could see it being is as good as the Mario movie. And that was only just like a fun kids movie. That was not like a, hey, let's actually try to make a good movie. It was like a, hey, let's try to like make money off this IP everyone knows, So there's no real like adaptation of Zelda that I could see them writing a script for that actually captures the feeling of playing Zelda, because playing Zelda is like putting yourself into Link's shoes, and it's a lot about you being in the first person point of view from Link's point of view while playing it. And I think you can't really do that in a movie. And Link is as much of a character as he is, he's also more of just like a vessel for the player that you put your own feelings on. And it's kind of hard to do that with like a actual actor playing Link and having to like, you know what I mean? Because that's also the thing. Are they going to have him deliver dialogue, or are they going to do what they do in every other Zelda game where he doesn't say anything and he just makes his little like ha noises, Yeah, I got no faith in this movie. Love Wes Ball. I hope he picks better projects in the future, because I like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I think this movie is going to be fine, maybe good, probably not great. I don't think it's going to be like trash fire like some video game adaptations, even though that is kind of where the bar is most of the time.
Yeah.
Only because this is a Nintendo project and they're pretty protective of things nowadays. So I think it'll be like probably middling at worst.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's not gonna be bad. I think it's hard for these big budget movies to be truly bad now. It's just going to be another somewhat depressing reminder that like they are no longer trying to make solid movies with big budgets anymore. It's like if it has a budget over $100 million, like 9 times out of 10, it's going to be just like let's just shit this one out because people will see it because they recognize the name, So I hope I'm wrong, like always. I know I like to bitch and be like everything sucks, but like I do hope I'm wrong, and I hope that this movie like is like an incredible adaptation of like Ocarina of Time or like Wind Waker or even Breath of the Wild, but the bar is very low.
Get ready for that same sentiment at the end of this video.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. We're gonna wrap. It's gonna wrap back around thematically.
Yeah, it's gonna go full circle. I feel like.
Yeah. And Mikey, look, we're doing better storytelling in this podcast than some of these movies are doing.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I'm just gonna. Pretty much the same vibe as what Rebecca and Seamus have said. I want this movie to be good. I want this movie to be successful. However, this is a Sony adaptation. They haven't really been doing that well in the adaptation department for a while. Mainly due to the man behind the curtain ruining everything. Which this is the last time I'm saying it. I feel like again, Wes Ball. I really did enjoy Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a lot. I thought it was a really great movie. And I mean, I know Wes Ball. I've been loving Wes Ball ever since the first Maze Runner because I love that movie as well. So I really hope that they give him the opportunity just to cook and to be, take, put his own spin on like, on the world of Zelda. But I feel like they're not gonna let him do that.
Wait, real quick. Did he direct the first Planet of the Apes Rise or whatever the hell it's called?
No.
He did Kingdom, which is
He
the
only did
one that
Kingdom.
came out like
Okay,
last.
so the one where they talked the whole time.
Yeah.
Never mind that.
But I feel like, at most this movie could be like solid, right? At most.
Yeah, right. Like,
but I'm honestly expecting the worst. I don't know, and I feel like, what I'm looking at, like other like adaptations that Sony has done. I mean, some have been good. I'm not gonna lie. But for instance, like, I mean, this is a TV series, but Last of Us is great. But Uncharted wasn't good. Like, that with Tom Holland. That was pretty bad. I'm looking at Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal was surprised that show was surprisingly very fun. But
it's time for you to defend Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. Oof.
Don't pull that shit, because I know you've said it wasn't that bad in the past.
Oh wait, which one? You mean the Alicia Vikander one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I like that movie. No, I like it. It's fine. But I didn't realize. I forgot that was Sony, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I mean, it's always like, it's hit or miss. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, we got till 2027. So I mean, I'm probably gonna judge it more obviously when we get footage and all that stuff.
I'm probably gonna kill myself in 2027 having to watch that and Avengers. That's over for me.
But like, here's the thing, right? Like y'all have. I mean, like Seamus said he's a Zelda fan. Pulling out the ocarina. Rebecca said she's like familiar with the games and like she thinks they're fun. I don't play the games at all. So like, how bad would it be if like I walk into this movie being like, oh, like and I'm just like, this is terrible, and I'm not even a Zelda fan. Like that would be bad.
A movie has to be pretty bad for you to say it's flat out bad.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking hated Venom 3. So.
You hated Venom 3, bro?
We talked about this. We said this on live, bro. Yes.
I don't listen to you when you're on these things. I just kind of like wait till you're done. Well, did you hate it more than The Flash?
More than The Flash? Not about the same.
Yes, I'm leaving. All right.
I'm going to say no, because the sequence where they go to Vegas is the best part of that movie. Everything else can leave.
Right. Okay. All right. We're safe. I can.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, like, before we move on to the next topic, I mean, it's just like, I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not. My hopes aren't really that high.
It's like every other adaptation they're announcing now, where they're like, we're doing My Hero Academia, we're doing Naruto, we're doing all the shit that you like, and it's like, it's real quick, it's a frustrating thing to keep seeing these adaptations because it constantly implies that the original pieces of art are like not really like a actual piece of art. Like they have to be adapted to film for it to be like real good. And it's kind of stupid because like every time they try to do that, it inherently just points out the flaws with adapting shit like this and how it's never going to work, and how when it does work, you have to remove it so far from the game for it to work. And even when you do that, it's hit or miss. You know what I mean? Like that new Resident Evil thing where they announced with what's his name directing it, and they're like, oh look, we're actually going to do a Resident Evil movie finally that's like accurate, and like we might get Mikey Madison involved, but like then they instantly announced that they're like, well, we're gonna be faithful to the vibes of Resident Evil, but we're doing our own story. And it's like, wait,
was this a recent announcement?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm like, don't ever mention that movie.
They're doing it. They're doing it for like the 5th time.
Jesus Christ!
They're doing it for like the 5th time, and they're like, I heard Mikey Madison was rumored literally to be like the lead in it.
Probably Claire.
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. They're not doing. They announced that they were going to be faithful to it. It was because it's directed by Zach Kreger, who did Barbarian, and they were like, we're going to be faithful to Resident Evil. They were like, we're going to be faithful to Resident Evil, and then and then everyone thought, oh my god, we're getting Resident Evil 1. And then they were like, no, wait, guys, we're not actually adapting Resident Evil. We're going to be faithful to like the vibes and spirit of Resident Evil. And it's like, please. That there are some games where it is like, this is just a movie script I play through. Uncharted, Resident Evil, and in those games, it's like, okay, all you have to do is just like The Last of Us. All they had to do was just, and they did that, and it worked. And it's like,
how blind are they to nail an opportunity? Because like, if you have the director for Barbarian to do like, Resident Evil 1, which is all in one mansion, and that guy that in that movie was all in one house and all that stuff, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want,
with Mikey Madison as fucking Jill Valentine, that seems like that would fit money.
Like I'm thinking is like, and to add on to what your point was, what you're saying, it's just like ever since, especially like the whole non-Spider-Man Sony villain verse, I'm just every time like I see them like when they did those announcements of like Naruto, My Hero, all that stuff, like Zelda, I'm just like I'm just immediately gonna be like, these are just cash grabs. You're taking these IPs and just using them as cash grabs to get like quick money, like you did with like that attempt.
Yeah, but
like,
people are gonna see them. Like if you want to just play the games, you don't have to see the movie. But most people are going to play the games,
Borderlands was also an adaptation that came out that like bombed horribly. That Avi Arad also produced. It's just I don't understand why you can't just try, like, if you're gonna adapt these things, like try to tell a good story that's faithful to the adaptation, like genuinely faithful. Like don't I
don't even really care. I don't even care about being faithful anymore. Just please try to tell a good story that's not just some half-assed like, hey, here's some shit script that we took all the names and just renamed to the names of this thing you like, so that way you'll go, it'll make more money, rather than if we just made it with the original idea and it would not make as much money. You know what I mean? It's like they can't do original ideas because they're scared that that's not the original idea isn't going to instantly make $1 billion, and instead it's only going to make like 200 million. And so if they just slap all these IP names on it and then go like, yep, now it's going to make $1 billion, even though it's like kind of ass because it doesn't fit either. Because I was just watching the first episode of that show, The Studio, with on Apple with Seth Rogen, and there's literally the entire plot is literally doing that, where Seth Rogen is the studio head and he's trying to get the Kool-Aid movie made, and so what he does is he goes and he buys Martin Scorsese's script for the Jonestown Massacre movie he's writing, and he's like, wait, they all died by Kool-Aid, Marty, what if we renamed it Kool-Aid and then sold it as the Kool-Aid movie? And then the studio head's like, dude, you're going to have the Kool-Aid movie be about how Kool-Aid killed everyone? And Seth Rogen's crazy. Like, So then they get the guy who directed Captain Underpants, and he wrote like a original script that's just like a story about like this animated character finding his way in the world, and they bought that and then just take all the names and made it Kool-Aid people. And I'm like, that's what they do with these movies. They just are like taking the script and then they go, wait, what if we just name them all Zelda and Link? And then we were like, that'll make money.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, this sucks. I want to talk about the episode book. So let's
overall, thumbs down, pretty much. Thumbs down.
It's like thumbs in the middle. I don't know how it's gonna go. I hope it goes good, but I'm feeling like in 2 years I'm gonna be doing this and going like, fuck you, Avi Arad.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to the next topic. So next topic is on the gaming side of things. I had a bunch of friends on Instagram send me the trailer for this because they got really excited. But Marvel is making a new video game titled Marvel Cosmic Invasion, and it's pretty much just a brand new beat 'em up for with Marvel characters involving a nihilist as the villain. Rebecca, Seamus, did you check this out?
Yeah, I saw it as part of the Switch Direct.
Yeah, okay. It looked cool. Yeah. By the developers of that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up they did like a few years ago.
That's why it looked a little familiar.
Yeah, and look, dude, they're using like all the Marvel vs. Capcom designs, which I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a Capcom game at first till I had to look back and see who produced this.
But yeah, it was looks good. It looks really good. Like
if this thing's like clean.
If this thing's like $20, like that I'm gonna pick that shit up instantly and just play through. It'll be, you know what else too? I'm glad because this game I know for a fact is not gonna be more than like 7 or 8 hours. It's a quick little like, here's a little fun beat 'em up with Marvel characters that's like old school, and that because that's what I liked about the TMNT game. It was short, it was quick, it was solid. It was just like, hey, here's a fun little TMNT game. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
And I expect this will be the same amount. Oh, look at that. Wolverine looks so good in this in Storm. Oh.
Yeah.
They're using like the best designs too.
Dude, it's yeah, and thing is like I also like, you know, I didn't play was it Shredder's Revenge? Yeah, that I saw gameplay of that. It looked really fun, very simple, very good, a classic homage like arcade games. Yeah, but this looks fun. I mean, it reminds me, like Marvel vs. Capcom, like that type of era. Like I love games like that growing up. So
I like how they also were like, hey, let's throw in. They're like, hey, let's throw in Phi Lavelle too. Yeah, you know, everyone loves Phi Lavelle,
right? Phi Lavelle, Nova, you know, like Nova with a mane, like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I like using the Nihilist.
But yeah, I mean, did they announce a release? Did they show a release date? Did they show a release date?
I don't think so. I think they said later this year. They said 2025.
Okay. Well, listen. So are there any characters you guys like, you know, want to be in the game? Like, are you hoping for when it comes out?
Not really.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage would be sick.
Luke Cage in a beat 'em up, that just makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke Cage. I was thinking Iron Fist. Yeah, Daredevil. Cool.
Jessica Jones.
Has Daredevil ever been in like a beat 'em up game? Not really, no.
If he was, it was probably one of those like 90s
Ultimate Alliance
Spider-Man titles or something.
I think Ultimate Alliance counts, right?
Ultimate Alliance does kind of count. Yeah, it does.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't like putting Daredevil in those games because they're like, he's blind and he just hits people. How do we make that into a character? And it's like, I don't know, dude. Give him Batman. Just give him Batman's detective vision and have him do kung fu. Like,
to be fair, most of the street level characters just beat people.
That's true.
That's true. It's almost like and that's why they'd be great for a beat 'em up.
But yeah, man, this looks really fun. This looks really fun, and I'm gonna maybe if either Seamus or Rebecca gets it, maybe we'll do it on the podcast at some point. Because I miss doing gaming stuff.
We still gotta do Suicide Squad before that game shuts down, dude.
That's true. That's true.
I downloaded it and I grinded just to get Deathstroke because I had to. Because I was
How was Deathstroke, by the way?
Well, he's so fun, which sucks too, because the game sucks. I'm like, why do you save like the best one for the very end of the game when no one's playing it?
That's hilarious. But yeah, Marvel Cosmic Invasion looks good, looks fun. All right, so the next topic that we're gonna be talking about here is so are y'all familiar with a man by the name of Chad Stahelski?
Yes, sir.
I'm not.
You're not? Okay, well, so Chad Stahelski is he's a renowned stuntman, and also he's the director of the John Wick films. So he's the John Wick. So I don't know if y'all know, but I found this out. You know, what's up?
He's also Chad Stahelski. Also is doing he did Bullet Train. He's also doing the Ghost of Tsushima movie, and
I don't think he did Bullet Train.
Did he not do? He was. I thought he was a what's it called? Uncredited co-director of Bullet Train because of what's his name? The other guy directed John Wick did it on it.
I mean, if he's uncredited, I don't know if we can just Google that or not.
Yeah.
Well, you could.
Well, you're right though. He is attached to do Ghost of Tsushima. He's attached on like a bunch of like projects that I don't think will get made.
He also did all the stunts for like all the Deadpool movies too.
Yeah, he did something for the Deadpool movies, stuff like that. And he's also was renowned for being Keanu Reeves' stuntman and like double on the Matrix. Like he's a legend. Yeah. But Chad Stahelski, very talented director, very talented, stunt choreographer. There's a rumor right now, and this is gonna hit a little bit for me because you know how much this has been paying me for the past like 7 years. But apparently, from what I've heard from from the grapevine, that Chad Stahelski is rumored to be eyed to direct what? To direct Blade. For the MCU product that's like not coming out.
Like, you keep getting your hopes up like this.
Listen, man. Listen, this is me not getting my hopes up, because I know this movie is like near dead, but like I was thinking, I was like, like I think Chad Stahelski would do a really good job with Blade. I mean, and this rumor kind of came around because of they asked him, I think during an interview a year or two ago. I don't know if it was recent or it was like maybe a year or two ago. But he said, they asked him, hey, like, what if you were able to do a Marvel project, like, what would you want to direct? He immediately was like, I want to do Blade. Blade would be my movie. And yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much it. So what are your thoughts on Chad Stahelski? Do you think he'd be a good fit for Blade? Because he said that's his dream MCU project is Blade.
I think he'd be a good fit, but I'm still not convinced this movie's being made, period.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that, like, I doubt this is true. He would be a good fit. I doubt this is true, but even if it's not true, I think Marvel should, like, hearing this news should be, like, putting all of their effort into getting him to direct the Blade movie, because that would not only be, like, make for a probably at least solid action movie, but, like, it's also, like, the type of name that Marvel needs to be bringing in now to, like, actually make their movies, like, somewhat exciting again. It's like you bring in a name like Chad Stahelski, who worked on all the John Wick movies, and you say, hey, he's doing Blade. It's like, that's the type of announcement that's going to get people excited to see the movie without having to see anything about the movie, whether or not it's filmed. And I think that's the kind of, like, PR that Marvel is going for now. Like, we'll talk about later, but, like, they're trying to go for, like, name PR rather than, like, quality filmmaking PR or, like, legacy PR, where it's like, oh, I liked all the other Thor movies, so I'll like the next one. Instead, now they're trying to be like, well, the next Thor movie is gonna have, like, George Clooney as Beta Ray Bill in it. You know what I mean? Shit like that, where it's like, and I think this is a perfect balance of, like, a big name that also would probably make a killer Blade movie. So, like, I don't think it's true. He would be a great fit, and I think Marvel should be trying to make him do this movie, because him directing a Mahershala Ali Blade would be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, for me, obviously, y'all know I'm, like, hoping this movie comes out, but I think he would be a great fit. I mean, for me personally, I would prefer a director of color to do Blade, because why not? Again, that's why Marvel's dumbasses missed on Ryan Coogler, for God's sake. But we're getting synergy because of it, so that's great.
I think it definitely would be preferable, but at this point, I'm like, just get the movie off.
Just get the movie out.
Get the movie out. You know what I mean? Like,
granted, like, it is reported that, like, the script is finished, and they got the guy from Lovecraft Country to write to finish off the script. So I mean, that's good.
I Lovecraft Country.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Chad would be a good fit. I mean, obviously we've known how good of a director he is in terms of story, and especially in terms of action with John Wick. But what I would also prefer maybe to add on to that. I would also want him to bring on JJ Perry to be like, either to be like to be like be a part of, like, the stunt and, like, choreography team, or to be like, the action director along with him. And JJ Perry did people don't know, he did, like, Day Shift, which I loved, like, the action in Day Shift. I was like, if I wanted to have play in the MCU in terms of, like, action, the way they do action is in Day Shift, which is the Jamie Foxx Vampire Hunter movie. He also recently did Killer's Game as well, which I didn't watch. But he's worked with Chad Stahelski numerous times in his careers. Like, he's also a stuntman as well. I think he's a part of what's the Chad Stahelski company? I think it's like 87 North, something like that. 78 North.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love.
He worked on Django too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he did also work on Django. Yeah, so I would want them not to co-direct, but, like, at least bring him on in some way, because I love the way they did the action.
Yeah, bring him on as, like, stunt coordinator, and he'd probably come up with some pretty cool action scenes.
But yeah, I would. If this is true, thumbs up. It's probably not.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's true. I hope it's true. But yeah, any more thoughts on Stahelski directing Blade?
No.
Again, this movie needs to come out. Like,
it's not gonna. Let's all have a moment of silence for the Blade movie, and then we'll move on.
Let me turn off the music right quick. Hold on.
You
I feel like this is our third morning of this.
Yeah. Let us mourn once more for 2 seconds, and then okay.
Now we're good. Yeah.
It's over. Right. Letting go.
Letting go. Moving on. All right. So the next topic we're talking about, people. Now we're moving on to some comics, but mostly we're just gonna be focusing on the new absolute DC comics that have dropped. So there's 3 that have come out. No, actually technically 4, but I didn't get a chance to read one of them. So but we're gonna talk about these main 3 in particular. So first book that we're gonna be talking about is the new absolute Batman number 6. So what do y'all think of absolute Batman number 6? What are your thoughts on it? Who wants to go first?
Well, I was saying, I read this today. I haven't read Absolute Batman up to this point. I read it for the podcast. I accidentally started on this issue, and let's just say I was a little confused when stuff started happening. But once I actually caught up, I think, and this is more thoughts on the book as a whole than this specific issue, I guess. But I think it's got some interesting ideas. Right now, I think this Bruce Wayne is... I don't know how he's more unhinged than usual Batman, because usual Batman's already pretty unhinged. But it feels like he was a little more unhinged from the beginning. And that's just kind of fun to read about. It's different enough that it still has trueness to the character, but it's also can stand on its own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Seamus?
Yeah. I think that this first arc really kind of surprised me in the sense that I wasn't sure if Snyder was capable of writing a truly different Batman take that still was able to have some substance to it in a way that felt new but was also different. But the end of this arc, this last issue, kind of really made me go all right, yeah, I was gladly 100% wrong, thank God, because like Rebecca was saying, I think the young recklessness of Bruce Wayne and how it, like I was saying off camera, paralleled Jason Todd, and the idea that without Bruce Wayne's wealth and legacy that he had in the main universe, he has become more of a wily Batman that is able to do really whatever he wants, in the sense that when he is fighting against the forces that kind of control Gotham and try to plunge it into darkness, he is willing to kind of go wherever he wants to, reach his goals, which I think is far more interesting, because Batman in the main universe does the same, but there's some kind of sense of there's still a sense of nobility to him that I think comes from his background being a rich boy. You know what I mean? Where he is always no, I have to be better. I have to be Batman. Whereas this Batman's I will do anything in my power to fucking stop you from hurting this city, and I will turn my bat ears forward and stab your eyes out if it means saving the city. And I think that it's that type of thing that is going to make his interactions with the Joker way more interesting, because I like how they're setting up the Joker to kind of be a version of the Joker that is burdened by the same thing that main universe Batman is burdened by. The fact that they're setting Joker up to be this billionaire that kind of is they're making making Joker 616, or not 616. I'm mixing my shit up. I'm fried. They're making him main universe Batman, where he's a billionaire who's kind of crazy. He has these two sides to him that are crazy, where he has like regular like billionaire Joker, and then like the shriveled up like crazy Joker looking, and like he has this like the fetus chair thing that he was sitting in that kind of like gives him life force, and you know what I mean. And there were 3 fetus heads, which I was like, is that like supposed to be like a Robin reference, where it's like there's 3 Robins? You know what I mean? And it's like, is Scott Snyder, which is I'm interested to see, and if he does this, I'm gonna really fucking like this book. Is he making it like Batman is like main universe Joker, in that he's like this crazy chaotic force, and then this Joker is like main universe Batman, where he has this like air of nobility to him that's like, oh, we shouldn't do that. You have to remain in the system. You can't break out of the system in any way. You know what I mean? And he's flipping the dynamic on its head a little bit, which I think is interesting. And I think I'm interested to see where it goes, because right now, like we were talking, it's like around my like 3rd or 4th favorite absolute book. But I think if Scott Snyder goes where I hope he's going, it'll probably like be right under Martian Manhunter for me. Okay. So I like it. I like it a lot. I like him. I like how all of his friends learned that he was Batman in this issue, and they were all like, dude, you're fucking crazy, dude. How come you didn't even tell us this shit? What is wrong with you?
They're all like, nah, bro, that's not, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I like how Penguin's flying him out, and he's like, look, you're fucking Wayland wants to kill you. Harvey's trying to arrest you. Riddler said he found it out 2 weeks ago. Like, what would Selena think? And then he pauses for a second. He's like, she probably think it's hot, but that is besides the point.
Yeah.
And I just like I like his dynamic with all of his friends. I think that is like one of the more interesting parts to it too.
It's crazy seeing a Bruce Wayne that has like friends as an adult.
Yeah, and to see kind of like how they react the same way that like the main universe Batman's like Justice League would react whenever he comes in and says some fucked information that is happening currently, and they're all like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, I know, just help me.
I'm also hoping that, just to have like, like a contrast with like, the main universe, that like since his friends are pretty much like what we're used to seeing are his rogues. I kind of hope that like they do become the characters that they're supposed to be, but like they're actually like, protectors of Gotham rather than like villains, and they become like kind of like his Bat family in a way, and it would be more meaningful because they are pretty much like a family because they've known each other like their whole lives. That'd be kind of cool.
And I think to flip a lot of those villains on their head, but in a good way, would be interesting to see. Like Harvey Dent still becomes Two-Faced, but him being Two-Faced is not him being a lawyer who then commits crimes. He just becomes like kind of like DC Daredevil, where like he's a lawyer who, when the system fails, he operates outside the law to help people. And I think that type of shit, I think, would be really cool to see them try to go for, with all these characters who are just, as of so far, it's only 6 issues, but so far they've all just kind of been sitting around going like,
they haven't really been doing much,
Yeah. And I hope that in future arcs they get explored, because I know this is a ongoing for however long they want it to go, which I hope it goes far as hell, because I'm liking the setup so far. This first arc was good.
Yeah. For me, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing with you guys. I really have been enjoying Absolute Batman a lot. I'm liking, it's more grounded, a little bit more gritty, but also, it's a little bit more, how can I put this? Like a little bit more kind of real in a way, in terms of like, what if Bruce Wayne was, just like everybody else, but a little. I
wouldn't say just like everyone.
No, not just like everybody else.
He's just like me for real.
Yeah, just. But like, he's less money, kind of less resources in a way, but he still makes it work because he still has that drive to protect the city. But again, cares more about the city just due to the fact that like there's people that he loves that live here that he wants to make a better place for them and for the people of Gotham, rather than just being like like a sole mission he puts upon himself.
Yeah.
And, I like that a lot. But yeah, no, this whole Black Mask thing with the party animals is really cool. Also, like, are they squid people? Like, what's the deal with that? Like, no, I mean, like, what?
I assume. Well, they're party animals, so I assume it's like every
play on
other.
the mutants, right? I think it's a plan.
Like the mutants, and like I assume because they're like all rich people, they probably have genetically modified themselves in like silly ways like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like he splices. They're all so rich, they got nothing better to do other than like splice their DNA with like squid DNA to make squid. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. I think that's where Scott Snyder's going because so far the Joker's like a billionaire, Black Mask is rich as hell. So I think he's making all of the villains Batman fights, at least in the first couple of arcs, like really rich establishment people. Yeah. And that the contrast is that now that Bruce is outside of that rich establishment, he has to fight 10 times harder to actually achieve anything because he is just a dude who's just trying to actually see his vision of what Gotham could be through, which I think is interesting because through that is how he like sways Alfred to like stay behind, and like the issue ends on that really, really like cute moment of Alfred still patching Bruce up and being like, if I'm staying, son, you're staying. I'm not letting you fucking die on me. And I was like, oh, that was a really cool moment.
It was really cool.
It's a really cool setup so far that I think is solid on its own. But I think it's one of those things that when it's recontextualized after we've read a couple arcs, it might be even better. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Also, we see, most importantly, we see Batman punt a child like a football.
That panel was so ridiculous, and I loved it. And I know some people hated it, and they don't really like the edgy aspects of this book. But I like that Batman is a little edgier for his own, like edgier to paint him as more of like a crazier Batman who's like. Because in 616, Batman, or not 616, why do I keep saying that? I'm fried as fuck. I'm thinking of Marvel. I keep thinking of fried. In regular universe, Batman, he is as crazy. He is. Like, he's done crazier shit than punting a child in the main universe. But you kind of forget that because you're kind of like, oh, well, it's Batman. It makes sense. But then when you see a Batman who in his first arc starts punting children, all of a sudden it's like, everybody loses their minds.
Honestly,
you know,
goes crazy.
Yeah, but I like it. I do like that he's like constantly smiling, like, you know what I mean, like, and it's gonna be that opposite with the Joker, where the Joker's gonna show up, he's not smiling at all. He's fighting a Batman who's constantly like, I'm gonna fuck you up, dude. I'm fucking. And it's I like it a lot. I do like.
I think what's more jarring than the punting children is seeing Batman curse in these issues.
Oh, it's so good. I like poor Batman who's constantly like, you're a shithead. You're a because it again, I think it's playing off that kind of idea that he is like or that it's playing off the edginess that was like apparent in like All-Star Batman or like any of those other Batman books.
Right.
But here it makes sense because he doesn't have the money and because he is more of a, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
he's a scrappier, less composed Batman.
Exactly. And I think the fact that
even as clean.
The fact that he is more of an underdog makes all of this wily, crazy shit more it makes it more appealing and it makes it a little more endearing because you're like, this dude is doing they're trying to do everything to fucking do this. Whereas when he's rich and he's doing all that shit, you're like, this dude's a fucking crazy asshole. You're like, this guy has billions of dollars, and instead he's out here calling a little kid a shithead. Whereas when he's like a 21-year-old, like a poor 21-year-old who's like fucking trying to throw hands with like this rich MMA fighter who wears a black mask and he calls a kid a shithead. You're like, well, that kid was being a shithead. He's been through a lot.
That's so funny.
I think Scott Snyder makes a lot of the edgier aspects work, which is like, I think it's the ultimate flex. The ultimate flex to take some of the most maligned and made fun of aspects of Batman's history and be like, no, I'm going to make them cool and matter to his character.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, I guarantee you, here, I'm putting money on this. He is going to say
this, whatever you're about to say.
You guys, I think at some point in this run, at some point in Absolute Batman, I think Batman is going to turn to someone and say, I'm the goddamn Batman. I think it's going to happen. And I think Scott Snyder I think it's going to happen when he's fighting the Joker or something, and Scott Snyder is going to make it actually cool this time. And you're going to be like, holy shit, he made one of the most made fun of panels of all time, like actually cool. And that's what's going to make me go like, yeah, Scott Snyder is the greatest Batman writer of all time. So that's my hot prediction. That's my lock of the week.
All right, everyone, place your bets to see if that's gonna actually happen.
It's not. It doesn't really seem like that much of like an insane prediction. Though.
I don't think it's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't think it's a
right.
stretch
It's because after reading this arc, you're like, I think he could say that shit at some point.
He could be the goddamn Batman.
He could be the goddamn Batman.
He might be the goddamn Batman.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really liking this. Yo, what's oh shoot, what's go Jordan? What's good, Jordan? What's good, Ray? These are my boys. These are my boys from
nice.
These are my old homies, man. But yeah, man. But this is gonna be good stuff. I'm looking forward. Also, they tease Bane, and I'm just like, I wonder what he's gonna do with Bane. Like, make him bigger.
They made him bigger. Did you see the panel they dropped?
Yeah, I did. I was like, damn, it just made Bane bigger.
I like it because you know what, Reacher just did the same thing in season 3, and it was incredible. And I was like, because I know before everyone was hoping Bane would be smaller than Batman, but he would be like a stronger fighter. But Reacher opened my eyes to the possibility of like, okay, but now there's a bigger dude, and now the big dude has to fight for his life. Who you normally, think is like, oh, he's usually secure in every fight because he's so big. Now he's fighting a big guy and he's the small guy. And it's silly shit like that I'm like, I think Scott Snyder's a good enough writer that he could make that shit actually seem exciting.
I got you.
We got that, and then we got Absolute Mr. Freeze coming, and he looks I like his look. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't think we're getting Joker this year. I think he's next year, apparently, allegedly.
Yo, Seamus, my boy Ray said he hasn't finished Reacher season 3. You gotta chill with that, bro. You gotta chill.
Listen. You got some good shit to look forward to. Because also, I know you're not done with Reacher season 3, but when you see the big guy next to Reacher, you're like, oh, they're gonna fight, and it's gonna be really.
Oh my lord! But yeah, bro. Okay, so let's move on to the next book. All right, so the two of the newer books, new Absolute books that people have been waiting for. We're actually going to do one at a time. But first, we're going to talk about Absolute Flash, which is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Nick Robles. Yo, I'm gonna start this off by saying I really love this book. Obviously, this one's more focusing on Wally West, the one and only Flash, baby. All right, let's put it the one and only Flash in my eyes. Fuck Barry Allen. But yeah, it's pretty much focusing on a younger Wally living with his dad at a military base, and his dad is conducting experiments for the military with Dr. Barry Allen. So Barry is in the book, and it's pretty much just an accident ensues involving Barry's death. Barry dies. He
dies.
He dies. Yes, he does.
What?
And it's kind of the way they do it. Narratively is really cool. It's kind of seeing Wally running from the rogues. We see the rogues. I think the rogues look awesome in this. It's for instance, he would the way the writing would work is the bubbles would overlap on top of each other, and it would probably it showed that he kind of, this version of Wally suffers from anxiety or something similar to anxiety in a way, and having super speed allows him to kind of jump instead of when he remembers a moment, he actually jumps to that moment. It felt very like Dr. Manhattan, and I love that.
I wanted to ask you about this because I thought it was just a storytelling technique. You know what I mean? I thought it was just, because I didn't think he was actually flashing to those moments like time travel. I thought it was more of just a storytelling technique.
I thought the same thing, but I feel like I need to go back and relook at it now.
I'm going to reread this right after.
I like the idea if they're actually doing that.
Yeah. I'm going to reread it after this episode because I'm already wait a minute.
Because that's the thing too. I thought it was just a cool narrative device, and then I went back and looked at it again. I was like, no, I really hope that he's just actually blinking to those moments,
It'd be cool, those moments. He can't control his power, so he's accidentally time traveling to those moments.
Yeah, and especially because because if he's suffering from anxiety attacks, what if those attacks actually bring him to those moments that he doesn't want to remember,
Yeah. He's only able to mentally time travel, so he's only able to go back like mentally into his past body.
Kind of like Quantum Leap, or like in a way.
That way,
you know what I mean?
in that way he could never save Barry, and Barry always has to die. You know what I mean? Shit like that. That could be.
That'd
cool.
be sick if that's the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the artwork is incredible. I mean, I'm also a person who was not fine with the colors. I love the way they color this book. The coloring is so good. But yeah, man, it's just Wally, kind of just intro to Wally West. Is intro to his powers. The characters that play the rogues. I loved like the way the rogues look. Very obviously like it's different because they're actually like a branch of the military. Like they're actually like military like decorated. Like they're not like actual like criminals, which is really interesting. And yeah, I mean this book was a lot of fun. So what Rebecca, what are your thoughts on Absolute Flash? What do you think about it?
Well, I'll go first since I don't have too much to say about it. I'm not a huge Flash person. I've seen the first like season or two of the TV show, and then like Justice League and that fuck ass movie we watched. But I think for me this was like the weakest of the first issues, and I haven't read Absolute Superman to be fair, just because I'm not like a big Flash person, and I didn't think that, at least on the surface, it was all that like interesting. I think your idea, like I said, that makes me more interested in it if they're actually going that direction.
Yeah.
I really hope it's the case.
Here's the thing. I think now, after I want to reread it, but I already had faith in Jeff Lemire because I had read his Moon Knight run. I got that shit for Christmas when it came out in trade back in 2016 from my mom because
Seamus and I have had mad talks about just Lemire's sort of movie.
Yeah, my mom's the GOAT because she just was like, hey, I picked you up this Moon Knight because it looked cool for Christmas, and I read that shit and I was like, this was the coolest thing I ever read. But I have faith in him as a writer because he's someone who does set up a lot of this high concept stuff, and I think doing the flashing of like time travel and stuff is already a really cool example of doing that high concept kind of thing. And like I have a lot of questions about the Barry's dead body at the end, and it looked like the Black Racer at the end.
It did.
And how the title of this first arc is already Of Two Worlds, and since they put the title right under the logo of the thing, it just says Absolute Flash of Two Worlds, and how the flash effect whenever Wally's having those like moments where his powers lash out, you see
a figure in there. Yeah,
it looks like Reverse Flash fighting Flash in those origin story issues that Jeff John was writing in like Flash Rebirth. And so there's a lot of those subtle references that I know for a fact Jeff Lemire is like both trying to set up stuff and also trying to like not mislead you, but also trying to be like, oh, you know what I mean? And so I'm excited. I think this first issue was fine on its own, but it set up a lot of stuff that I'm excited to see hopefully explored in the future. Like, I like Captain Omni-Cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Captain Omni-Cold.
Captain Omni-Cold. I just realized what you said.
What if Captain Cold looked? They gave Captain Cold the Omni-Man mustache.
Dude, I love the designs. I love the designs for these new rogues.
The new rogues designs. I like how it's like
Crystal looks so cool.
Yeah. And yeah, because we already know I guess we already know that Mirror Master is going to be the villain of like the first crossover, so like we know at least he exists too, and I hope he joins the Rogues eventually too, where he belongs. But yeah, I think I did like this. I like the storytelling technique. I like Wally accidentally getting his powers from Barry, and Barry dying and being like the catalyst for Wally, because we all know that Wally's always been the more interesting and better Flash.
Like, yeah, we always know
as
that.
much as God bless Barry, I respect Barry, I respect that TV show, but that TV show really called him Barry and then adapted every Wally story they could.
Well, every Wally story they ever, yeah.
They really called him Barry, and then we're like, okay, but here's Wally. He's Wally. He's Wally. He's Wally.
Yo,
and you were like,
remember
okay.
We had the same conversation when we reacted to like the trailer for The Flash like a few years ago. And remember when Chris asked us, wait, who was when we were gassing how Wally's like the GOAT Flash, and he's like, oh wait, who was the one in the animated series? And we're like, Wally's like, damn,
Wally.
you're right. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he was like, wait, who's the one who was in this storyline? Wally. Wait, who's the one who was in the show? Wally. It was always Wally. Wally's the coolest one. He's the one everyone actually knows.
Except for the one arc where Barry dies.
Yeah, that's the only arc that people know is the one where he straight up fucking dies, and then that one, and then the Flash of Two Worlds. Those are the only two stories people know of Barry.
Yeah, it's only every other Flash of Two Worlds.
Dude, Infinite, that's why I fucking hate Jeff Johns. I hate Jeff Johns. And then Rebirth. Listen, I will let him jerk off the Justice Society all he wants because he knows how to write those. But as soon as he got his grubby little fucking hands on Green Lantern and Flash, it was cooked. It was curtains. I like Kyle Rayner. I like Wally West. Let my boys be there. Don't fucking bring back crusty ass Hal and fucking old ass Barry to come back and be like, oh, we're old and from the 40s. Oh, I don't give a fuck, dude. Also, another real quick, off topic. No, not off topic. It's on topic. I like how every redesign for the Absolute Universe has gone either, oh, they're like the regular universe, but now they're big and ripped and hot. Or, oh, they're like the regular universe, but they're young and twinky. Like Superman and Flash are like young twinks, and then Batman and Wonder Woman are like, oh, they're even more jacked than the main universe. And then there's Martian Manhunter, who we'll get into, but
yeah,
I think this issue was really good. I liked it. I had fun with it. They got to do something about that logo though, because they were
you told me you thought about the logo had me crying.
I saw that they were like giving out Absolute Flash tattoos, and the tattoos, I was like, oh, that looks way too close to the SS logo. They cannot be doing that. Like the two, it just is too close for me that I'm just like, oh my god, because it wasn't something I saw on my own, but I saw someone point it out, and then as soon as they pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, wait, oh no. So I hope it changes at some point, but if it doesn't, it's not gonna really matter. It's just a funny little like.
What do you? I mean, I know we've talked about the costume. Rebecca, have you seen the actual full costume for Flash?
The one at the end of the issue, or
no, like they've actually released artwork of Wally in the costume. So it's pretty much the same costume that Barry was wearing, but just Wally wearing it, pretty much.
I haven't seen the separate art for it that wasn't in the issue.
Okay, if I can find it. But I think it looks cool. I know Seamus thought it was. It looks good. I mean,
I'll say it's grown on me. I like the jacket. I do like it. I think it's going to be cool when Barry shows up without the jacket and you're like, oh my god, that's the Black Racer, because the whole undersuit without the red jacket is an entire black suit, and I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna think Barry's gonna be like, oh, maybe Barry's Reverse Flash because of the aftershock thing that Wally goes through and it looks like Reverse Flash, but I think Barry's gonna be Black Racer at some point, and you're gonna get a cool like, whoa. But yeah, I like the suit. I do. I know when it first dropped, I wasn't high on it, but I think over time, it's grown on me. So
yeah,
I think if I were to rank it,
I like it. I like that it's different.
I like his running shoes. I like how it looks like a runner, like a track suit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. The jacket, I wish it was more of like a jacket rather than like this weird crop top overcoat thing.
Thing, yeah, I also agree as well.
Like the back of it right there looks really cool. I just wish the front of it was a jacket and not like this weird pullover crop top. You know what I mean?
But I like
the flap that goes over in the center. I think that's what.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the mask. I like the mask with the goggles looks cool too.
I think you wouldn't be able to sell the twinkiness if you didn't have it, if it wasn't a weird crop top.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can't wait till he kisses a dude, and then everyone and then all the right wingers come out with like, Flash is gay now.
Oh, look at DC making the Flash woke.
The Flash is woke, dude. I hope he kisses Absolute Superman.
Yes.
You heard it here first. My second lock of the season.
Guys. Make it happen. Make it
Batman's
happen.
gonna say I'm the goddamn Batman, and Absolute Superman and Wally are gonna kiss.
Oh man.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But yeah. Any more thoughts on Absolute Flash before we move on to the next to the last book?
I'm all set.
Alrighty. So the next book that came out actually this week, because Absolute Flash came out last week, is none other than Absolute Martian Manhunter, written by Denise Camp with art by, I know the last name is Rodriguez. I just gotta remember the first name. But
Javier Rodriguez.
Javier Rodriguez. There we go. Thank you. But yeah, and we all know that Seamus has been a Denise Camp glazer ever since we covered all the the Ultimate Marvel stuff.
20th Century Men, Ultimates, Assorted Crisis Events, and now this. I think my glazing has been time and time again proved to be correct, and not only correct but justified.
Give it another year, just like Tom King. Next time we do the best and worst podcast.
No. Because I don't think Denise Camp is capable of writing something as bad as Wonder Woman. I don't think he's capable of that.
If he is, Seamus is gonna have the crash out of the century.
If he is, I'm killing myself on camera. I will. It'll be a whole episode. We get to do a whole thing. We'll make
that one has to be alive.
Oh Lord. But yeah, same. Since you were looking forward to this book the most, I assume out of all of us. What are your thoughts on Absolute Martian Manhunter?
I think this book is actually incredible. I think this book is actually the best of the line so far. I thought Absolute Wonder Woman was good. This is like I'm reading something that's like, this is gonna be talked about for like years. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Like other comics are like, oh, this is good right now. I was reading this and I was like, holy shit, this thing is gonna be the thing that people like constantly point to be like, oh, if you're getting into comics, you have to read this at some point.
I think it helps too for Martian Manhunter fans that there's only one other run that you can look to.
I know, and it's like I'm finally getting fed good shit, because for years I've had to like in the New 52 era when he worked for the U.S. government, he had that weird suit, and I was like, what have they done? When he was part of Stormwatch.
When he was part of Stormwatch.
Yeah, and they named him after the Nazis, and you were like, he works for the Nazis. Like, yeah, it was horrific, but this was so fucking good, and I love Denise Camp's writing. I have glazed Denise Camp's writing multiple times. I'm going to say it's really good in this book, but I really want to talk about how Javier Rodriguez is like fucking incredible on this book.
Dude,
art's insane.
We were talking about like, Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol and how crazy the art was. That I was getting those vibes reading this. I was like, what am I looking at? Like, this looks incredible. Like, I can't.
Yeah, and that's like the highest compliment I can give this book, is that every time when I was reading this issue, I was constantly reminded of like the greatest comics I've ever read. And I just was like in awe that we finally were like, got not only a Martian Manhunter book, but a Martian Manhunter book that was given to a team that has a vision and that cares about the character and wants to tell a new exciting story with the character, which sounds like it should be the bare minimum for any comic book series. But you'd be surprised at how many times a character gets given to a writer and the writer goes, I don't really care about this character. But this was...
We'll avoid the whole Amazing Spider-Man conversation on that.
I don't want...
Yeah.
God, I don't want to talk about Spider-Man Juggernaut.
I don't think what you heard when I said I was like Scott Liddell.
Scott Liddell! You're all over me!
No, but I really do love the pop art, like, that pop art, like, aesthetic to it. I love it a lot. I was like, this is really...
I love the pop art aesthetic. I love the way that they portray, like, they do the thing that they do in every other, like, telepath origin story, where they have a moment where they're, like, overwhelmed because they can hear everyone's thoughts and feel everything. And usually it's like, like someone just going like, and then like flashes of other people saying like, I touched my butthole today, or like shit like that. And they're in the corner like, But the way they do it in this book, by having like John Jones be overwhelmed with this very colorful smoke that is slowly suffocating him, and it's all around him and it's all encompassing and he can't get away from it, I think was such a inspired choice to portray like telepathy as a suffocating smoke that you can't get out of your lungs. And I think it was just
very creative
example of the rest of this book and how ingenuitive the rest of this book is with its ideas and taking what are like kind of like standard tropes and completely destroying them and doing something completely new with them.
On that note, one thing I like about this too, sorry to interrupt, is how, especially when you're first reading this, you might not even pick it up, how the thoughts flow into the text bubbles.
Yeah.
How there's those two little lines that separate off the main text bubble. So the character doesn't know that he's reading thoughts before the whole smoke thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's shit like that where it's like it is a piece of art that could not exist outside of the medium it was created in. You can't do shit like this in a video game. You can't do shit like this in movies. It's something that you can only do in a comic, that you can only kind of portray these kinds of ideas and these kinds of stylistic shifts through the medium of a comic. Because like you said, they're using the standard comic like formula of using thought bubbles and speech bubbles, and they're using your previous knowledge of that to change the way that you think about how telepathy works by having those thought bubbles turn into speech bubbles. And like the point of view shifts when he's interviewing the parent of the cafe bomber, and he's slowly seeing the smoke form into her memories, and he starts talking from her point of view, and then he has to correct himself and be like, she did that, I didn't do that, whoa. And I think it's shit like that you're just like, wow, like that is such an inspired choice to try to tell the story, because the story in this is interesting because it mostly focuses on the characterization of John Jones, the FBI agent. And they do a very good job of portraying him as someone who, despite being a deeply caring person, he just has a lot of trouble interacting with people and kind of socializing with people, and even like interacting with his family, who he loves and obviously loves him, but he just has like a very odd, detached sense of interaction and relationship with them. And it was like, that really cool moment where he's like talking to his kid, and his kid's like made him dolls of their family, and he's like, oh look, you made you and mommy, where's daddy? And then they point to daddy, and it's literally a claymation version of the Martian. And it's like, that's daddy. And that had me both like a cool, like, oh, is it a thing where the kid sees the Martian, you know what I mean, sees John Jones as the Martian that's inhabiting him? Or does the Martian see the doll of John Jones that his kid made of him that looks like the Martian and takes that form? And I think that's, shit like that makes me think of like, oh, which was it, and how does that affect how the character is developed? And it's little things like that. And John Jones talking about he's an FBI stomatic agent or whatever, and he prevents terroristic acts in the future from happening. And I'm like, yup, they're already doing like the telepathic predictive stuff by John Jones, already working in that field. And shit like noticing like the debris of like the coffee shop is in the shape of how the Martian looks on the cover. And I was like, oh shit, oh there he is. And you see him all over the book. I don't know. This shit just felt like every single decision made and every single piece of art and word written on the page was all purposeful. Like, it wasn't just to get from point A to point B sometimes, or to do a cool little thing. It was all like, this is all building to like the last page, which is like the coolest last page I've ever seen in a comic book, because you have to hold it up to the fucking sun to see through it. And it was just the coolest piece of art I've seen in a comic book, and I really fucking loved it. So like, this was like, I'm so glad they extended this from the 6-issue miniseries they were doing to 12. I hope it gets extended to like fucking 120, I hope this goes forever. And I like Denise Camp saying that he's like, no, I'm not having any fill-in artists. We're not doing any. It's going to be me and Javier Rodriguez till the end, as long as this book goes, and that has me excited. So, yeah, please buy this book. Please buy all Denise Camp books. I'm a shill for Denise Camp now. God bless.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't really got anything else to say because you said a lot.
It was, dude. This book was
really
good.
Like, it is really good.
This book was so different, and it was like, because I was hyping it up. I know I was hyping it up, and there were times where I was like, "Gosh, I hope it's as good as much as I hyped it up." And it was better. It was better than that.
It was really good. I mean, I don't want to really say like too much to be like this book like literally just came out, but I'm very looking forward to seeing what I have more questions. I have more questions than answer.
It's like, yeah, it's like one of the best single issues I've read in a while too. Like just on its own, I would just like, you know, like if you read this just on its own, you'd be like, wow, what a really interesting and cool story about a FBI agent who is kind of questioning his line of work and how to operate in that line of work, and whether or not that work is making him less human or not, you know. And there's like parallels between him, you know, being more disconnected from people and becoming more like a Martian, which I think was very interesting.
But oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with Seamus for a lot of this. To me, I still like Absolute Wonder Woman better, but I think this is one of probably the second strongest issue for me personally. Like Seamus was saying, the art really works in service of the story they're telling, and it couldn't be done without the art and all those different things that are unique to comics. I think because of its abstractness, it might be kind of hard for some people to get into it, but I also think if you're picking up a Martian Manhunter comic, you're probably down with getting a little weird, you know?
But yeah, well, I got nothing else to say. I just have more questions. I have more questions than answers, really. But obviously that's the glory of like the ending. I really love the way this book ended as well. But
it was so fucking good. It was so good. I think so. Here's the thing. I think I like this and Absolute Wonder Woman equally. I think I just like this single issue more than Wonder Woman's first issue. You know what I mean? I think as it goes on, I might like it more than Absolute Wonder Woman. But they're like, it's like this for me. Like this is Absolute Martian Manhunter. This is Wonder Woman. They're like right there. So like, and it probably is just more because I like Denise Camp's writing like that. Denise Camp, Kelly Thompson, they're like right there at the top of the list for me. But yeah, the art really put it over the edge for me. Over Absolute Wonder Woman, even though I like that art too. But all the art in all these books has actually been like really fucking good, which I'm glad that they actually were like, we're actually gonna get like fucking insane artists like Nick Dragotta and like Javier Rodriguez to like do these books, because you know, they get known writers and named writers that you can name, but they mostly got artists who, you know, aren't as big of names as maybe the writers, which I think is good, because giving new talent a shot is really cool.
Yeah, and that's probably a good transition to the next topic, right, Mike?
Yeah. You like that? You like that shit? You like how I did that? I was good.
Yeah. For people that don't know, a few weeks ago, I think like 2 weeks ago, Dustin Nguyen, who is people don't know, is a writer and he's an artist from Marvel Comics, who I love. I mean, I love a lot of his cover work.
Not just Marvel, he's done independent and stuff.
Yeah, he's done indie and he's done DC. But yeah, he's been getting a lot of buzz lately because of the beef that's been going on that he addressed. So he pretty much has been talking about, he went on Instagram and pretty much talked about his experience working for Marvel and how it has been, you know, not a great experience. It's pretty much, he said it's pretty much like working for Marvel is pretty much, he compares it to like working minimum wage, probably less than minimum wage. That's pretty much how he describes it. And yeah, he just pretty much want to talk about his experience and how he's probably never going to work for Marvel again, and most importantly, the fact that he says that working for DC has been a much better gig for him personally, because even though they also may not pay like crazy money, they do way better they pay way more than they pay a little bit more than Marvel does, and as well as take care of the artists a lot better. So yeah, he pretty much just went on a rant, and a lot of creators in the industry, replied on his Instagram post and pretty much agreed with him. It blew up to the point where Marvel actually contacted him and to have a private one-on-one conversation to discuss what's been his issues and his gripes, see if they can change things. It was crazy. Like I know they had Sean Gordon Murphy replied and said his piece. Rob Liefeld replied. I know Zoe Thurgood, who was an artist, she explained what me and Rebecca were talking in our other chat about how she was commissioned to do $100 concept character design sketch, and Marvel used it as a cover without her consent, without permission, which is crazy. I know Sean Gordon Murphy said he was blacklisted from Marvel. That he found out he was blacklisted, and he said probably the only way he's going to work with them again, he could maybe work with them again, is if maybe he cuts his DC page rate by a third, which is crazy. And it's Sean Gordon Murphy, he's such a good name in the industry. I know Jason Sean Alexander says and stuff.
Batman White Knight was so good, he got blacklisted from Marvel.
Right?
The White Knight book was so good, they were like, "Fuck that guy, he's too good."
Yeah, it's Jason Sean Alexander said something. It was a lot of people came out and said their piece openly, and it got a lot of attention, and it got Marvel to hit up Dustin one-on-one. So what are your thoughts on Dustin Nguyen's beef with Marvel Comics? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's justified. Like you said, we were talking about this in one of our Discords, and I absolutely believe that Marvel and DC, and probably some indies too, are underpaying their artists. I think art in general, especially sequential art like this, where you're trying to pump out 22 pages of sequential art a month, you're probably getting underpaid for however many hours you're putting in for it, right? So I think his anger is completely justified. That being said, I think while it's good that Marvel's talking to him, I don't know how much real change is going to come from this.
Yeah, 100%. They're and like you said, there's a pay issue in comics, and it's not even just relegated to artists. You hear people like Peter David having to start a GoFundMe to pay for his medical bills, despite his characters being adapted in billion-dollar movies. You know what I mean? And it's this conversation that we keep having to have, that these poor fucking creators are putting their goddamn heart, soul, and sweat and blood into creating these stories and these artworks that create these characters that then Disney turns around, makes $1 billion off it, and they don't really see a cent of it, And it's that kind of issue that is apparent in both companies, but it seems to be way worse in Marvel for some reason. And like Rebecca said, it's good Marvel's talking to him, but with how 100% Marvel corporate's just going to be like, you know what I mean? Thanks for telling us, dude. See ya.
Yeah, I think the problem with it, and this goes back to another thing we were talking about, which was you asking if there was any possibility for them to unionize.
Yeah,
is that there are always going to be those young artists desperate to break into the industry who are willing to undercut people, because you can have a handful of people say, I'm not crossing union lines, I'm not going to work for people who are going to underpay me, but there's always going to be someone who wants it enough to take that crappy paycheck,
Yeah, It literally just happened in the video game voice acting industry, where one of the major Genshin Impact actors was on strike to try to get more protections from AI, and while he was on strike, he found out that his role got recast by some fucking young TikToker who was like, yeah, I'll scab for a quick buck, and it's really just it's just really depressing to see all these forms of art be funneled into a very capitalist monopoly that kind of just, doesn't really consider their artwork valuable, and more just concept for the actual money making power, because it's all based on making money, and they always got to be maximizing their profits instead of taking care of their fucking workers. It's bullshit like that, and it's that's why I'm 100% on Dustin Nguyen's side. I 100% think he should be paid as much as they possibly could pay him, because he's creating his own artwork, and if you're creating interiors, 22 pages of artwork a month. That's insane. You should be paid. You know what I mean? You should be paid well. You shouldn't
At least
be
a living
paid
wage, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't be being paid like fucking like scraps, and then like you get like, you know, fucking nothing, and then you're forced to live off like doing con appearances to try to pay the bills. Like you're writing like if you're doing art on like you're doing art for fucking Spider-Man. Like that should be like one of the greatest honors and one of the greatest jobs in the world, but it's always just like, you know, due to Disney buying out Marvel and Marvel corporate not really caring, and you know, to the same extent on DC, but from what I hear, like not as much of an issue. But they just don't, you know, just the consequence of these comic companies being bought up by like these big corporations who want to maximize profits. And, you know,
I don't think that's the root of the problem. I think it's just exacerbated the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I just think that it's gotten 10 times worse. Like it is,
sure.
You know what I mean? It's not like it wasn't an issue before, but like you look at it now and it's just like, it's gone from like an issue to like dire circumstances, you know?
Yeah, there's just way more money involved now.
Yeah, there's way more money involved, and none of the actual creators are seeing any of it. It's just all the like, you know, corporate dudes who are seeing it, and all the editorials like seeing it. You know, difficult situation. God bless Dustin Nguyen. I hope he gets paid out the ass.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because then, like, you know, Marvel is owned by Disney, which is like one of the biggest corporations ever. Who can afford to pay their work produce.
They can. Oh yeah, like
easily.
They could definitely afford to pay these guys millions a year and still fucking make like $40 billion in profit.
But it's kind of, you know, the attitude that, you know, ever since, you know, with, you know, the MCU on the rise and, you know, the success it's gained, and it just kind of trickled down to like the comics way, where, you know, obviously we complain about, you know, comic book synergy all the time, but the fact that, like, you know, the attitude of, hey, like, you know, we don't really care much about, you know, the comics. We're just here to take these characters and to make them into like IP. So we don't really mind. We don't really care paying these people a living wage as long as they keep feeding the machine. Which is, it's a disgusting practice, and it's especially, you know, sad to know, especially their kids, like, you know, aspiring creators like myself and other people that I know, even you, Seamus, and but like that, like, would love to work on Marvel Comics, but like, you know, we don't want to like starve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think if Marvel came to you right now and said, "Do you want to draw Spider-Man?" Are you gonna say no to that?
Oh no, yeah, that's the thing though. Like, and that's why all these people are here, because they don't even really care about the money. They're all there because they fucking love it.
They want the opportunity.
They're not getting into it because they want money. They're getting into it because they love it. But that also doesn't mean that they should be paid like fucking scraps. You know what I mean? And that's just what's sad about it, is that all these people know that they're not being. They know that they won't be able to live off it, but they just love it so much that they can't help but do anything else. And it's just depressing to see them suffer because of it. You know,
yeah,
you're punished for trying to, you know, do what you want to do in life.
But yeah, man. I mean, I got really nothing else to say. That, like, you know, Dustin Nguyen, Justified, and also sucks that like all these other like creators that like I love and admire experience the same exact thing. You know, and I hope maybe that there's some substantial change to it, but like Rebecca said, I don't really know if there will be. I hope so though. I mean, moral of the story is just, you know, go indie. That's all I gotta say. Go
just out of
indie.
curiosity, has there been anyone you've seen like actually defending Marvel in this?
Yeah. Well, creators know, just like random assholes.
Yeah,
you know?
not industry people. Like, of course, there's always the Marvel fanboys. I haven't seen a single industry person come out and go, actually, Marvel's been paying me a very good way. I've just seen either people supporting Dustin Nguyen or just being completely silent. So,
either supporting Dustin Nguyen, being completely silent, or, you know, or just haters, just assholes being like, oh, like, why are y'all complaining? Like, y'all.
I wouldn't expect anyone to be on Marvel's side. I just had to know if there was like one of them.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
No, I haven't seen anyone who's like, actually.
You know what's funny though? I'm wondering, like, after like this little buzz, especially with Marvel, late with this incident, also what we're gonna talk about next and all that. I wonder how DC's feeling, being like, like, I feel like DC's kind of like, you know, got sauced up a little bit, but like, oh, like, Dustin Nguyen admitted that like, we're paying more than what Marvel's doing with their comic book creators.
DC hiring all those young writers for Absolute and then letting them cook and do like insane artwork and paying them well. They got to be over there going like, and I guess maybe it's like, because like historically, DC has kind of always been more, DC has always kind of like ridden their art a little bit. Like Marvel has had good artists, but DC has had like Jim Lee in the past. You know what I mean? They've had like fucking artists on there. Alex Ross, shit like that, you know? So I think DC has kind of also built up a little bit of a reputation to be like, fuck yeah, we fucking love artists as much as writers. Whereas Marvel's always more like, yeah, we got writers. I was like, who cares about that artwork? You're like, oh, you got some good artists over there. Let them cook a little bit. But yeah,
I mean, I got nothing really else to say. Like, I'm happy he did this. I'm happy he acknowledged it, and I bet a lot of people came on board and backed him up. So hopefully, we'll see what happens. We'll
hopefully everyone gets paid out the ass because they deserve it. Hey, fucking just pay these guys. Come on,
pay these guys.
They stories. Peter David's having to fucking pay for his medical bills through Kickstarter. Like, that's insane. Come on.
Crazy. But yeah, all right. So moving on to our last topic,
moving on. Now look at that segue. Do you see how we did that? Because then we talked about the artist in absolute, then we talked about the artist relationship with corporate, and now I get to purely shit on corporate. Yeah. Now I get to purely shit on corporate fucking decision making.
Smooth, Seamus. I commend you on that, for real.
You see, that's why we demanded you put that Dustin Nguyen story, because we had to have that.
There's a narrative to this life.
Yeah. Dude, remember at the beginning when I talked about how we are doing better thematic storytelling?
We are.
We're like Martian
Studios just hired us.
Comics podcast right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, you hear that, Marvel Studios? Hire us. You know
we should change the tagline of this podcast to the absolute Martian Manhunter of podcasts.
I don't know about that, bro. I don't know. But yeah. So next topic we're talking about is I think it was yesterday where Marvel Studios on their YouTube channel, on Twitter, on all the social medias did a live stream. Yesterday, like afternoon to like yesterday, like evening. It was pretty long. It was like a 5-hour live stream. It was crazy. A lot of people viewed it. It was like 7 million people, but it's pretty much a series of these crew members bringing out these director's chairs, and which was like a weird way to promote something, but it was pretty much Marvel kind of revealing the official cast of Avengers Doomsday, which is the upcoming Avengers film that is going to be kind of pretty much like the lead up to Avengers Secret Wars, which is going to be directed by the Russo brothers returning to direct this film. And yeah, we got a bunch of casting announcement. Again, it's just a bunch of chairs, like from sequences, a bunch of chairs. Again, strange. I mean, it kind of sucks because I was just used to Marvel just announcing, just having a huge press conference and Kevin Feige bringing actors on with, promo material on screen. I'm just like, why do this?
It's really, really an indictment of how Marvel's doing right now in the MCU, that before we get like a Civil War type press conference where Feige would come out, all the actors would be there. Now they can't even get all the actors in the same fucking room at the same time, even though they're filming this movie together, because they're all filming it on different green screens across the world, Yeah. and like I saw people talking about how they were like, well, this marketing was like, it was the most viewed marketing, like it was viewed 500 million times or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because it was a 5-hour live stream that everyone popped into once, and that counts as a view, no matter how long they watched it. And it's like, also like it doesn't mean the marketing's good or not. Like if Elon Musk live streamed himself shitting his pants, I guarantee you that would get a lot of views. That doesn't mean it's a good thing that's happening. You know what I mean? This whole thing just felt very much like, wow, they're desperate. They are very desperate for attention at this point by doing this long-winded, like, ooh, who's the next name going to be? It's 5 hours long, instead of just bringing everyone out and being like, yep, we're doing this fucking movie. See ya.
And it just kind of, it just hurt. It just like, it was just weird. Just like, yeah, all these empty chairs, just Robert Downey Jr. at the end being like, man, they're really making Robert Downey Jr. the center of attention again, when like we kind of were kind of tired of like like him being gone was like, okay, like we can move on from Robert Downey Jr. being the center of attention in the MCU, right? So I would just back to him again. It's like, come on, man.
I always knew he was a bullshit artist. He's just a very entertaining bullshit artist. But it really is insane to see him do that whole Oppenheimer Oscar campaign where he's like, I'm finally back to making real movies. I love this. I love working on a real movie set again. Then right after going back into Avengers Doomsday and doing full court PR for them is insane. And it's just like, dude, you really are like a bullshit artist. You really do you're like a PR machine, which I'm sure is great for every corporate, like dude who's like, yes, Robert Downey Jr. does great PR numbers or whatever. You know what I mean? But as someone who's like a fan of like good filmmaking and good storytelling, it kind of sucks to see this dude just constantly blow smoke up my ass rather than like just doing good movies. So him at the end pissed me off because I've already bitched enough about that casting decision. But like seeing him act all like cute and coy at the end, I was like, fuck you, dude.
Listen, man, it's a potential $100 million check. I mean, what do you expect him to do?
No, I don't hate him for taking it. I hate him for doing the Oscar campaign where he acted like it was insane that he ever did that and then immediately went back to doing it. You know what I mean? I think if he just changed that Oscar campaign to be like, listen, I'm proud of the work I did at Marvel. I'm just looking to do something different right now. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. But the fact he spent that entire thing going like, oh, thank God I'm out of there, and then immediately dove right back in.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if he didn't even do any of the PR for this, you know what I mean?
Also, say hi to Sarah real quick. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hi. Hello. Yeah, even if he foregone doing all the PR and he was just like, I'm gonna be in it. Yeah, I'll be in it. I'd be like, all right. I don't know. It's just so like, and the Russos coming back. I watched The Electric State last week. Did you see? I logged it on my Letterboxd.
I did,
dude.
And yeah, I've heard nothing but bad things about that movie.
That was so shit. That was like, there was not an idea in there that was artistically driven. It was all just like. It was the most corporate Netflix movie I've ever seen. It was disgusting. It was horrific. And no one was acting. No one was doing anything. It was just all like I didn't even know what was happening. You have to like watch clips for yourself to just see how like mind numbing that movie is. So I have no faith in the Russos. I actively hate Joe Russo now because all the comments he gives in the fucking press, he just says the most insane bullshit. Where he's like, yeah, I hope AI, we're able to use AI in movies in 5 years. And it's like, dude,
that's crazy.
You are advocating for the death of this industry by advocating for all this bullshit. And I hope you fucking stop because you used to be cool when you were making Arrested Development and Community. That shit was cool. This ain't,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, let's get to the casting because I have more things to say about the actual cast itself.
Yeah. Rebecca, do you have anything to say on this, the presentation just in general, or you're good?
Not the presentation in general.
Okay.
I feel like I'm probably way more like, I don't know if level-headed is the right word, but less passionate about this than you and Seamus.
Level-headed. Yeah, so you know what? You're trying to portray me in a certain way and I don't appreciate it.
Hilarious.
Level-headed.
We'll see your rant go off again in another 2 minutes.
I don't have a rant. I just think it's
a passionate speech.
All right, so we'll get into this. Like, we'll breeze through the casting real quick because there's a lot of actors.
Are you reading all of them out?
Yes. But yeah, we'll get right into that real quick. Seamus, shut up. Don't be dramatic.
I'm taking a shit. I'm leaving, man. I'm going to get a drink.
So. I talk fast. I'll run through it. So RDJ, Dr. Doom, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as Human Torch, Eben Moss Backrack as The Thing, Bucky Barnes being played by Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh as Lena Belova, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Louis Pullman as Sentry, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Tino Huerta Media as Namor, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Danny Ramirez as the Falcon, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Alan Cumming back as Nightcrawler, which made me so happy, Rebecca Romaine reprising her role as Mystique, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, James Marsters as Cyclops, and Channing Tatum as Gambit. So yeah, that casting is yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's like, yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay.
To be fair, to be fair, just real quick, I'm happy to see, more Samus, more Anthony Mackie as Cap. That I think is very fun. I mean, I'm happy to see Letitia and Winston Duke back as well, M'Baku and Shuri, because again, I love those characters. The Fantastic Four I thought were going to be in there, obviously. I'm happy to see Loki back, after because I feel like he's gonna have a really big role in this as well as in Secret Wars, so that's great.
You'd hope with how they wrote him at the end of Loki season 2.
Exactly.
That was important shit.
The Thunderbolts being in here, I'm just like, why? But like, I don't see how they're gonna be a real threat to Doom other than like, Lewis Pullman as a Sentry. Mostly the big thing here, which is like obviously what everyone's been talking about, is the X-Men coming back. Patrick Stewart. Even I said in the chat, Seamus, like when they announced, I was like, let Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, like just leave them alone. They're old. Like, stop.
Ryan Reynolds was not joking when he was saying till you're 90 to
till you're 90.
They are gonna be 90 by the time this movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, real quick. I heard that this is only half the cast, and they might do another casting announcement.
They're doing more.
The line.
Yeah, I heard the same thing too.
I heard that Spider-Man isn't in this movie at all. He's getting his own movie that takes place in between the two, allegedly, with Spider-Man 4, which I think is kind of insane to do. Yep. But if you're going to do 2 casting announcements, I don't understand why you would do the movies that haven't come out yet and announce those casts now rather than wait until those movies come out to at least build some intrigue. Because my specific issue is that I genuinely did think like a lot of the Thunderbolts are going to end up dying in that movie because they're fucking fighting the Void. They're fighting Sentry and the Void. You know what I mean?
That's what
I thought we'd lose a couple. Like, I didn't think we were losing Bucky. I know some people said Bucky. I didn't think we were losing Yelena, our U.S. agent. I thought that Red Guardian had a chance to die, and I totally thought Ghost was dead. I thought that was happening. But now it's like, so I guess Taskmaster's the only one who dies, and I didn't even care about Taskmaster because that's not really Taskmaster. You know what I mean? And I think that is just a very weird decision to do. It's not like a major issue or anything, but it is just like a little like, that's odd. Like if you're doing 2 different sets of announcements, why do those now?
Exactly. And Ray took the words out of my mouth. Was like, yeah, they pretty much like spoiled Thunderbolts by
exactly
this casting like now.
It's just like common sense that it'd be like, hey, let's not try to spoil the movie that's coming out later. And this all but confirmed that the asterisk next to Thunderbolts is going to be like, oh, they're the new Avengers after. You know what I mean? It's going to be the big title at the end of it where it's like, oh, they're the new Avengers, which is like stupid to have the new Avengers and not have Captain America on the new Avengers.
Exactly.
When he's like Bucky's best friend. But,
and Ray also is saying as well is like X-Men finally back in the building, should have recasted Magneto and Professor X. That's what he's saying.
I am okay with the Bush administration X-Men being in this movie. My only issue is that I don't understand. They're being brought back for the nostalgia pop. You know what I mean? My hope is that they would be brought back and be given these fully fleshed X-Men characters, and it's these actors who finally get to play like very good and well-written and correct versions of these characters in one movie to before they reset and before they recast everyone. It's like, a lot of these actors were very good choices. Only 2 of them were really able to break out of those really like scripts back in the day. So like, let's give James Marsden something to do. Let's give Alan Cumming something to do. You know what I mean?
I'm really happy that like they might actually get some like actual time to like shine and like leave their mark on the role.
They're not really though. They're gonna get 2 seconds. It's gonna be like Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine, where you're gonna think, "Oh, cool," but then that's gonna be it because they're gonna do what they're gonna do the incursion thing, where like the Fox X-Men universe is crashing into the 616 universe. Even though it's weird to do an incursion when you haven't seen one yet, so like it's just gonna happen, and you're just gonna go, I guess that's what the leader was talking about at the end of Brave New World.
Well, they've been setting that up since like Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. I can't remember
It was at the end of the Marvels
At the end
that
of the Marvels.
they kind of had one, but it was kind of like a pseudo one. They didn't have an actual one shown. And then that's when Monica Rambeau sealed it from the other side and got trapped in the X-Men universe. With Kelsey Grammer's Beast showing up at the end of that, and I was just like, what?
Whoa.
What the fuck? Which it's funny that Marvels is now required viewing, because everyone said that was like the least required movie so far released. But I think the casting itself of everyone coming back, the people I'm excited for the most are honestly, honest to God, Loki and the Black Panther cast. Those are the people I was like, oh, cool. I hope they get some actual time, because I still enjoy watching their movies and shows. Still, you know what I mean? Like, cool. Namor and the Fantastic Four in the same movie. You'd think that would have happened so long ago, but it hasn't happened yet.
I was mostly excited for Loki, like the Black Panther cast again. I'm Simu, obviously, because again, love Shang-Chi. You know, Shang-Chi was dope. But mainly when I saw the X-Men, I was like, Alan Cumming, yes, because you only got to see him play Nightcrawler one time in X2, and that was it. So I'm happy to see him back.
I hope they make him look hot and not like they did in the fucking X2 where he looked all scarred and fucked up because they couldn't just do blue skin people. They had to make him like weirdly like disfigured. And I was like, what the fuck? That's so 2000s to be so scared of doing just like a blue skinned person. They're like, no, they have to have weird scales and have scars and shit. It's like, no, dude, Mystique has blue skin. Just paint Rebecca Romijn blue and let us all go home, because we all get to be like, ooh, hot blue lady. It's like Avatar.
And Ray made a comment here where he's like, yeah, I hope their outfits have to be bomb, otherwise I'm rioting. I really do hope
they gotta be doing they gotta be doing the 97 costumes. They have to. Or else, if I see that fucking black leather anywhere near this goddamn movie, it's not. Oh. Black leather and RDJ Doom is gonna be the end of me. I'm done.
Do you think that with Rebecca Romijn, you think they're gonna give her like the white dress, or they're gonna go like how she was before, where she was like naked, pretty much?
If they paint her blue and give her the white dress, that movie's getting 5 stars from me. I'm gonna be like that, because it's gonna look exactly like Mystique, and she's great acting as Mystique. And I think if you just give her the look, I'll be like, oh, we've got a good adaptation finally that looks like the comic. You know what I mean? It'll be on the same level as Charlie Cox Daredevil for me. I'll be like, yes, we've done it.
And then Ray was like, oh God, will we get a creepy ass suit name? I hope so.
I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't think he's going to be that creepy towards her. I think they're going to redo it a little bit, because they made, at the end of Black Panther, they kind of made Namor not as much of a dick. You know what I mean? He was a dick that whole movie, and then at the end, they had that kind of thing where they kind of realized they both were like being pitted against each other, and they both kind of like chilled out and like made up a little bit. So I don't think they're gonna paint Namor as like. I think he's gonna be attracted to Sue. I don't think they're gonna make it overtly like creepy as they do in the comics.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna go more flirty than predatory.
Yeah, and also they're not gonna have enough time. So if they make him creepy for like the 2 seconds he's in the movie, and also like. Elephant in the room, Tenoch Huerta did have like some allegations against him.
Yeah.
I don't think making his character creepy in the movie would be a very good look for someone who has
there were people,
you know what I mean?
There were people making comments like, okay, so like Tenoch can come back, but like Jonathan Majors can't come back. Like, you know, like I was like,
Well, Tenoch Huerta had allegations against him. Jonathan Majors was caught on video chasing her down in the street. That was a very different.
No, it was the other way around. She chased him down the street.
Well,
but
they still got each other beating each other up in the street.
I do think they should be consistent, but I'm probably, of the opposite opinion, where if you're not sure, maybe just leave him out of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like him as Namor. I don't know if we really need Namor in Avengers Doomsday, unless you're doing the Illuminati, in which case he could just be a cameo stand-in.
He could be a cameo, yeah.
It's a weird situation where they're very. It shows that they don't actually care about the cases themselves. They care about the PR. You know what I mean? Jonathan Majors was a much larger PR case, whereas Tenoch Huerta's case was almost entirely relegated to like Mexico's culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was talked about over in Mexico because he's big there, but here they were like, who?
Yeah.
It kind of just shows how gross Marvel is a little bit sometimes.
I want to know, what was a cast out of all these? Like, which one surprised you? Like, we're like they're in here, because like I was surprised that they're going to bring Ant-Man back, because I love Paul Rudd.
I was not surprised. I was not surprised because people always hate the Ant-Man movies, but they love Ant-Man in the team-up movies. Like they like whenever they see an Ant-Man movie, they're like, this sucks. But whenever they see him in like Endgame or like Civil War, they're like, I love Ant-Man. Why isn't he in any movies? And it's like, yeah. But the surprising one to me, I mean, Ghost was surprising to me, and Alan Cumming, I think, are the two ones that I'm like the most like, whoa, I was not expecting them to be in it at all, you know? But
yeah, I think having the majority of the old X-Men cast is a surprise.
Well, I'm not gonna say majority because like my goddess isn't there. Halle Berry not on there at all.
Well, we don't know if she's gonna get announced for the second half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Because Deadpool isn't in there, Wolverine isn't in there, Halle Berry Storm isn't in there, and Hulk isn't in there.
Famke Janssen is Jean Grey. Like, I'm surprised that she was not in there.
I like her, but let's not act like that
actually has something better to do than me in this movie.
That's true.
I was gonna say I like Famke Janssen, but like let's not act like she's like the one we're all waiting for.
There were a lot of freaking Ray. He's hyping me up. There was a lot of castings. I was like, I mean, they could show up in the second half for sure. But I was like, man, no Scarlet Witch, no Tom Holland, which is crazy because Tom Holland
is dead. They said Tom Holland's gonna be in his own movie.
No Captain Marvel, no Spectrum, no.
Well, okay, let's not say no. Because they did say they're gonna do another cast announcement.
Yeah. So I don't think you can rule anything out till we see that second half. Then you can get mad.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying you can't rule out Storm yet. You can't rule out any of those people yet because like doing all this and not having Wolverine in it kind of seems a little insane.
It's a little,
having at least like Toby or Andrew in it when you were just able to get him back last week for fucking No Way Home. Like, I think that we have to, like Rebecca said, she's right, that I'm waiting until I see that second half of the cast whenever that comes. Just more of a question, why do all these names now? Because these seem like the weirdest names to do right now.
Seamus is going to see that second list and be like, well, why did they spoil all these other ones too?
That's the thing. They can't spoil anything because I don't, there's no other movies coming out between after Fantastic Four and Doomsday, right? They haven't announced.
I'm not talking about the movies themselves. I just mean spoiling who's in like this movie.
Oh, okay. All right. I do dislike that a little bit because I do think like some of these people I would have preferred to just see on screen. Like Alan Cumming. I love Alan Cumming. I like him as Nightcrawler. I think I would have preferred to just been surprised to see him in the movie rather than have it be announced 3 years before I see it. An announcement. You know? And it's like I was saying earlier with the chair thing. It reeks of desperation that they're trying to get people to be like, look, we got Bush administration X-Men. We got the Thunderbolts. Everyone you like, right? Next it's going to be the Eternals. You guys like that, right? And it's like, oh, Lord. Oh, no.
I think we're getting like 2 Eternals max.
2 Eternals, that's it.
It's like the only thing that would make me like see these movies and actually enjoy them is if they were like, yeah, we did it. Tom Hardy Venom is in this. I would be like, holy shit, I'm there. Day one. You get him and Mrs. Chen. I would be like, I would be there. I would be fucking there.
I wouldn't be surprised if like that would be kind of crazy seeing Secret Wars. Not gonna lie.
Seeing Secret Wars. You know what I heard they're considering doing for Secret Wars? Fucking animated characters. So they might be doing Spider-Verse characters in that.
That'd be sick. And that'd be a good way to bring Miles in there because Miles is a big part of Secret Wars.
It would be sick if they let them have the time to be able to animate that because they're barely able to get their own animated movie out on time. That third one's not coming out till after both these Avengers movies at this rate.
Crazy. But Ray saying, damn, we're gonna get Doomsday before Blade, man. They broke my heart too many times, Ray. It's crazy.
We're gonna see Blade for the first time in Secret Wars, probably, because they're gonna pay Mahershala Ali to show up on set for 2 days.
Nah, it's gonna be Wesley Snipes. Remember what Deadpool said.
Mikey.
Credit again.
Mikey, I hope they recreate that scene from Django Unchained, right? I hope they recreate that scene from Django Unchained where Wesley Snipes' Blade is fighting a bunch of people in a club, and he's about to shoot this other vampire, and this vampire says, "I count 12 bullets, dumbass." And then the camera, you hear a click, and the camera moves behind the guy's head. Well, Wesley Snipes has the gun in front of him, and there's another gun behind him, and Mahershala Ali's Blade says, "I count 2 blades." Tell me that wouldn't be incredible. That would be incredible.
That would be iconic.
That would be incredible. But they won't do anything nearly as cool as that. They'll have two blades walk out in the most poorly lit green screen scene you ever seen, and they'll just look at each other and they'll be like, motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill again for the 5th time, and we'll be like, fuck, you did that last time.
Oh man, yeah, but your idea sounds better.
It sounds way cooler. You're referencing a really cool movie and doing it in a really cool way. Like, yeah, could you imagine that camera panning from this side to the other side and revealing Mahershala Ali's blade standing there like that? You'd be like, that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. But they won't do that. Also, I was gonna say, I love Channing Tatum. I
love him as Gambit, man.
He's too much of a joke, though. That when you put him next to the rest of this X-Men cast, it's going to be a joke the entire time because he's going to look like he does. I mean, and he's going to act like he does, and you're going to be like,
I honestly, they hammed up. Obviously, he was more comedic in Deadpool because obviously it's
that's
Deadpool.
What I'm saying. I hope they turn it down.
I want to see a balance of like serious, but also funny. You know, because Channing Tatum shines really well as a comedian. You know, he has really good comedic chops to him. So I want to see a balance.
He's a good dramatic actor. I mean, you look at Foxcatcher or you look at Blink Twice that just released last year. He's able to pull off a dramatic role. So, like I like you were saying, that's what I was saying is that I hope they're able to find a more correct balance for the tone of this movie rather than making him full like I popped out of my daddy's dick. You know what I mean? You're just like, whoa. Oh, why you say? Although it would be funny if he said that in the movie and they left that one in there.
But they're probably gonna just be like, ooh, like oh, I'm about to make a name for myself. They're probably gonna just ham that joke again, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah. They'll probably say that one because everyone liked that one. I hope that. Here's the thing. I hope they actually are allowed to get really weird with it, and we see really weird pairings or really weird variants of people. You know what I mean? Like, give me some weird bullshit. Like, Give me Alan Cummings Nightcrawler and Bucky having to fight like Maestro or something insane like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just go full ham with how weird the fucking movie is and all these people.
I think this is gonna be. Go ahead, Mikey.
I was gonna say I don't think this won't be as multiversy as like I'm expecting Secret Wars to be. I'm just pretty much assuming
I'm talking about these as if they're two movies because let's not act like this isn't going to be the cast for the Secret Wars 2.
No, it is. I mean? It is.
Like these people are all going to be in both of these movies. I'm talking about the whole thing together. This first movie, what you know, is literally just going to be X-Men versus Marvel. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's literally just going to be the incursions. It's going to be like the main universe colliding with the Fox X-Men universe, and then Doomsday is gonna go Loki and be like, "Yo, make me a world," and he's like, "Okay."
Yeah. Doom's gonna show up to Loki and be like, "Make me a world" or some shit, or Doom's gonna show up with the Infinity Gauntlet, and then he's gonna be using the same Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet he used at the end of Endgame, and everyone's gonna be like, "I remember that one," you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be like, "Fuck, dude, this sucks."
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna do the same snap he does, and then every fucking Avengers movie that's a two-parter has to end with a snap because we keep having to reference that one fucking Jim Starlin book that came out in the 90s.
Yep.
It's gonna be like that, which I like that book. I do like the Infinity Gauntlet, but
yeah,
it's just it's just them circle jerking themselves, and I do hope that they step outside of that for a minute to be like, hey, let's do something really cool for a second while we have all these actors here.
And it's oh, sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think this is gonna be like the most event comic-y of the movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna end up where you just end up breaking because you have so many people. This is half the cast.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna break everyone up, put them into groups. X-Men's probably gonna start together, and then everyone splinters off. But the point is you got to give them all something to do, even if they're just standing in the background of the scene, So I think it's going to be very much like scene to scene. We're seeing the different teams do whatever.
And the thing is, like, I'm worried, like, knowing how big the cast is and knowing how the Russos, like, their past stuff they've done that haven't really been that successful. I'm a little worried if they're going to execute it or not. But I don't know. We'll see. Any characters like you're one? Because I just thought I was like, I wonder if Moon Knight's going to be in this. I hope.
I wouldn't.
No.
I don't think so.
I hope not. No. I don't think.
Moon Knight.
That's the thing. I think that they are foregoing a lot of the characters, and
I'm just seeing what works and what doesn't, you know.
Not even that. Those characters are going to be relegated almost entirely to Secret Wars cameos. Like they're just going to show up for a second on screen and be like, well, look, Moon Knight was in Secret Wars. He didn't say anything and he never took off his mask, so you never knew it was Oscar Isaac. But Oscar Isaac was able to record like 3 ADR lines for us before like fucking getting paid $50 million and running away to go do it like an Oscar-winning movie, like Dune, Messiah.
Yeah, if they are in it, I don't see them being like major focus characters.
Which is kind of stupid because you'd think like you would try to like build up new Avengers stuff, like using Kamala Khan or like using Kate Bishop or like Moon Knight or Blade or anyone that's not just the original cast that you're paying even more money to come back. Like, because that's what I heard. I heard that the all the Secret Wars villains are just going to be the original cast's evil version of himself, and I'm like, I think I would rather die before I see Chris Evans play Hydra Cap. I'm sorry. I think I that would be the end of for me. That would literally be the end.
Hilarious.
This is a question I have though. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
So we know Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
Who do we think are going to be like the main point of view characters? I guess in this movie, who are our main people we're going to be following? Like, obviously, one of them is going to be Fantastic Four, but like, outside of them, who do you think we're going to focus on?
I mean, definitely like the Avengers right now. I feel so like definitely Sam. I feel like definitely Thor.
No, I don't think they're doing Sam. I don't think they're doing Sam. I think Marvel's too racist to do Sam.
Marvel's too racist.
They're gonna do. I think they're gonna do Bucky and the Thunderbolts. It's gonna be like Fantastic Four. It's gonna be like Bucky and the Thunderbolts, and it's gonna be like X-Men. And those are the 3 like points of view you're gonna be cutting between while this whole thing happens. And they're gonna be fighting each other as the 3 Earths collide or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like a bunch of Doombots are gonna show up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think if Marvel was really cool, the point of view character would be Loki. And I think the real cool thing would be not even having any of the Marvel characters really be point of view characters, but it would be Loki, who's like the story weaver. And he is for the first time since he became the story weaver at the end of Loki, he's he doesn't have control. Like he's constantly trying to like weave a story that like fixes everything and makes sure that the least amount of people die, but like he's constantly stopped by this outside force that he's like, what the fuck? Every time I try to do something, like it gets 10 times worse. Like I try to stop the worlds from becoming an incursion, and now a third one showed up, and I'm trying to stop these heroes from fighting, but now they're fighting even harder and killing each other or whatever. You know what I mean? And then that force is revealed to be like RDJ Doctor Doom, like you know, fucking
messing
pulling
with
the
stuff.
strings. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. That would be kind of cool because I think Loki is arguably the most interesting character coming into this crossover. He has had the most development and the most to do since the last one.
But again, Seamus, they're not gonna do that.
They're not. I come to you guys with cool Blade introduction scenes. I come to you guys with cool Loki stories that everyone would love because everyone loves Loki. Everyone. I think that you're hard pressed to find someone who genuinely doesn't like Loki. And I think it would be very interesting and very much a cool story to tell a Loki who is now the hero of the event. Before he was the villain of like the event, and he slowly learned to become, you know, at least the martyr in the last event, but now he's allowed to actually be a hero. And I think that would be an interesting full circle moment for him, but they won't do that. You know what I mean? They're gonna have him cameo for 0.2 seconds going like and then get killed by like RDJ Doom, but you're not gonna see his face, and they're gonna be like, oh, who's that? Who killed Loki and took his chair? You're gonna be like, you know, it's shit like that where you're just gonna be like, I guess, like, sure, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say on this. I mean, this is happening. So, I honestly don't.
That might be the most pessimistic opinion you've ever given about anything.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm just like, it's happening. Like, you know, I mean, I am looking forward to, like, you know, some of the people coming back, but especially some of the X-Men. But
I said this the other day. I think it's gonna be fun. I don't think it's gonna be anything, you know, of substance.
I'm just
fine, but I think I'm gonna have fun watching it. You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun watching it. I still have the ick. I still have the ick of just RDJ coming back as Doom. It's like
gross.
I really hope that he's just a Doom bot. Like I really hope he is, but it's not.
They aren't wasting that much money on him for me for him to
bold,
be a Doom God.
bold as hell if that was the case. Like bold. Like I would actually clap if that was the case. And actually reveal their actual Doom in Secret Wars.
That was an idea. I remember when I told you when the casting was announced, and you were like, "Wow, that's way cooler than anything they do." And it feels like every time we talk about these movies, I say an idea, and you go, "Wow, that's way cooler than anything they'd ever do." That sucks.
Yeah, but
it's just like,
I mean, like all I can do right now is just like it's just shrug and be like, "It's happening. I'm gonna watch it because it's Marvel. Of course, I'm gonna watch it." But
the only thing that would make me genuinely enjoy this movie is if they announced Daredevil and Bullseye were in this movie, and they just had an extended Daredevil and Bullseye fight scene, just them by themselves fighting, and then I'd be like, "Yeah, this is a good movie."
It'd be kind of interesting to see, because I know obviously they're keeping like Daredevil and like all like the grounded characters on like Disney Plus, but like it'd be kind of cool to see like when this movie does come out and when Secret Wars does come out, like. I don't want to see them in the movies, but if they do a season of Daredevil, like either like right during a Secret Wars happens, like to see like his perspective from the ground, like everything going to hell. Like that would be kind of interesting to see, like what those characters would, what's Secret Wars or the incursions happening from like their point of view, from like street level. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you think,
like, nah.
Okay, here. I mean, I think the only thing that they're gonna do, at least now that's in the works, is Spider-Man 4. That's gonna be the only thing you get. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You think we're gonna see Wonder Man in this?
I forgot that was happening. Yeah.
TV show? Do you think we're gonna see Wonder Man?
With Yaya, right? With Yaya Abdul-Mateen. Maybe. It's possible.
Do you think we're gonna see Anthony Ramos Hood in this?
No.
Do you think we're gonna see a Scorpion in this?
Scorpion? No.
Do you think we're gonna see the leader in this, or do you think he's not in this one?
Nah. I don't.
Okay, all right. Actual question: do you think they're gonna get like Nicolas Cage back as Ghost Rider?
That would be kind of cool. I'm surprised not. Well, he could show up.
Do you think they're gonna get Idris Elba to do that ridiculous accent again from Ghost Rider 2?
Yes. Please. Okay, you know what? That would bring my money in if they brought him back as Merlot again. That would be great.
I remember, Mikey. I remember when I walked into your dorm and you were watching that, and I walked in right as he was doing that accent, and we both looked at each other, and our jaws were just dropped because it was the first scene he was in, and we both were like, "This is so like that the whole movie."
So wacky. It was so wacky.
It was so insane.
But yeah, any final thoughts on the cast or before we close out?
I think I'm good. I hope it. Like I said, I bitch a lot. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is the coolest movie I've ever seen. But like everything, every piece of news I hear about it is just like it's like close to the worst possible news I could hear about this movie. Mm-hmm. It's just sad.
Yeah, I think it just is what it is. Like, I think it'll be fun to see some of these guys back in the roles, but again, I'm not, counting on this movie being anything other than a popcorn flick.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I used to be able to handle that. I think I'm just at the point where they've been giving me that for like, by the time this movie comes out, they would have been giving me that for 20 years. By the time this movie comes out, it will be 20 years since Iron Man 1. And I will be. I've sat through 20 years of like being like okay with it, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, you guys have these really cool comics that you take and refuse to pay the creators, and then make like the most mid story out of it. Can you at least like do one that like is like a little cool? Mm-hmm. Remember when you guys were like putting out like good movies at least, like Winter Soldier? Remember that one?
Just do that again, please. That's all we ask.
Just make Winter Soldier again. Just give me a Bucky doing cool shit again. I don't care. Fuck it.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll just. All I'm saying is we'll just see what happens with this. But I'm looking forward to seeing the second half of the casting announcements when those do happen. For sure.
Mm-hmm. That'll probably be next year because they're not gonna have anything after Thunderbolts, so they're gonna have to do something next year, and I guarantee it's gonna be like next year.
And they did announce like when they finished all 5 hours of that chair lineup that they're in production like right now. So like they're actually going to be filming like this month. So
and half their production budget went to 5 hours of filming chairs.
Yeah. But,
that was literally filming. That was all the budget, because if you count out how much money all those actors cost, right there, that was all the budget they got.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's good to stop.
Yeah.
I
hope Invincible's in it.
So do I.
Dude, I hope the darkness shows up at the end of it.
Bro, if Spawn showed up, I'd cry.
Oh my god, don't even talk like that, because now I'm getting way too excited for shit that's never happening. And it's Keith David, and he fucking shows up.
Dude. Oh,
and
God.
he shows up, and he fights fucking Bullseye with Daredevil. Oh
Lord, that'd be amazing. Listen,
if he fights Nick Cage Ghost Rider.
If you want to do action figures smashing together, at least do cool action figures.
Figures.
At least have Spawn be like, little man want to fight. He just starts like, you're like, yeah.
Oh man, dude. But that's pretty much it. So thanks for everyone who are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Please, if you haven't already, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what your thoughts on any of the topics, like any of the comics we discuss, anything on Avengers Doomsday, anything we discuss. We want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please hit the notification bell in the corner so you know when we get new content. Check out the last After Dark we did where we talked about, Brave New World and Daredevil. That was a lot of fun. Check out, some of the, the Deadly Class stuff, the Transformer stuff, the interviews that we've done. Check out the Alex Cormack interview that we did, which was a lot of fun. The clips, which again, we will do more clips. I promise. They're just very time consuming, and it's a lot. But we know y'all love the clips. Check out the one we did on Absolute DC and Ultimate Marvel Universe, because those blew up for no reason. And yeah, as always, we appreciate because of you, Seamus, of course. But yeah, as always, people, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And again, just keep checking the content, keep supporting us. We really appreciate it. And as always, get home safe, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right. Peace. Bye-bye.